Welcome to today's conversation. These conversations started over dinners where I get to introduce everyone at the table in a way that interests me. The dinners are always fun and sometimes useful. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if it's fun or useful. It's just the fact that we're all there connecting and making sure that we can all see what's coming round the corner. And the next thing we've got to do then is stay in touch with each other. Yes, we've ended up having dinner parties where people have made new jobs, got new contacts for work. And for me, it's just been a way over the last 17 years to get to know the fabulous people, always a little bit more senior and always a little bit shinier than most. Well, today we're meeting Jon Walsh, the founder of WhatsApp Adtech chat groups and of jobsinadtech.com. And he also sponsors these after dinner chats. At the start of the Ukraine war, Jon and I met to see how we could use his network, it's impressive, and my dinner hosting skills, as if that's a thing, to get people to put their money where their mouth is, so to speak. And we raised $6,000 that evening. So that was cool. Anyway, over to Jon.
This episode is brought to you by jobsinadtech.com, the only jobs board dedicated to digital media and the adtech industry. If you're hiring now, use promo code JWPOD, JWPOD, for a 10% discount on any package. Jobsinadtech.com, it's where adtechers go to find their next role.
Jon, thanks for coming on. First up, if I may ask you, what's been in the news this week that's caught your eye and why?
Hi, James. Thanks for having me on. Well, I think for me, it's been the noise around the Eubank Ben fight has actually been very interesting to watch, and also obviously watch the fight over the weekend. And I think what's been interesting, and this always happens in boxing, and we always forget about it, is that all of the pre-fight argy-bargy that goes on, and then after the fight, it's actually how much respect there is between fighters. And all of that pre-fight argy-bargy is simply there to create a narrative in order to sell tickets effectively, in order to create the story that these two people are pitted against each other in some kind of death match of familial proportions. And I think that it's a reminder for how important narratives are in business, and how if you want to sell something, you need a story.
I loved it. I thought it was, as I was saying to somebody recently, it was just like the wrestling.
Yes,
it
very
doesn't
much so.
feel like the old boxing story, but then there's always been a narrative around it because you've got to sell tickets, and you want people to come to the next gig.
Well, look at the Rumble in the Jungle. I mean, that and that must be what, 50 years ago, 60 years ago now.
And we still talk about it the whole time.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So this series is called Ripped Off Less.
Yeah.
And the after dinner chats, because we've all been to get dinner together and gotten to know each other a little bit in those dinners. I'd love to talk to you, get you to talk to me about what you're up to in context of Ripped Off Less across the many businesses that you've got going at the moment. How many hats do you wear, by the way? No, I don't mean physically like you're wearing right now.
I have a number. I mean, look, everything for me comes down to, and this feeds into ripping people off less, is how can I make things more efficient, right? So this is kind of like my North Star. So I think that there's lots of inefficiencies in the industry. And what I do is try and just remove the inefficiencies by using simple technology. And when I'm saying simple, I mean, just the internet mostly. So jobs, to give you an example, so Jobs in Adtech, which is kind of the main thing that I do, is came about from seeing that there was just this big inefficiency for candidates in our industry to get jobs. And the two prime ways that people have been finding their next role has either been through LinkedIn, which is vastly inefficient on both sides, just due to the fact that LinkedIn is so big, and the business model is about selling ads on a cost per thousand or on a cost per click to companies for that recruitment. And LinkedIn's incentive is to show that ad as many times as possible. And what that really means is, if you're a client and you're hiring on LinkedIn, you're going to get hundreds, maybe even thousands of applications. No company can go through, no HR team can go through that. It's wildly inefficient, and the incentives aren't aligned between the company that's hiring with the job ad and LinkedIn. LinkedIn wants to squeeze as much money as it possibly can by showing an ad to as many people as it can and getting big numbers for clients. But all a client really wants is a small handful of really great people to apply for that role.
How do you get those people?
How do I get them?
Yeah. I mean, how do you get the right people at the right place at the right time? Because the whole point of LinkedIn is it's the business community and you can spray and pray.
So I do the complete opposite. It's all about the very tight niche of ad tech only. I mean, I think ad tech and digital media, there is a Venn diagram of highly concentric circles, which allows, it does bleed into, if you work at a media, or you're looking for a role at a media agency, that will sit with, you'd consider yourself within ad tech if you were to do that. So what I do is I market only in the ad tech space, from an SEO perspective, from a sponsorship perspective. So the things I sponsor, like MadFest or the Trinity Lunch, and the work I do with New Digital Age, all of this is because I don't want people coming to jobs in ad tech unless they actually work in the industry. So that also holds me back slightly, because it means that I can't work with those first jobs that companies have when they want graduates to come in, because those graduates won't have heard of the site. So it's a slight double-edged sword, but what it means is that when companies come and use jobs in ad tech, they know there's zero wastage. There's only ad tech workers for employees that are going to be using the site.
The focus.
It's real tight focus and niche. And I don't care about big numbers. What I do is it's all about quality. So I don't want to deliver 100 applications for a role. I would much rather deliver 6, and every single one of those 6 is good enough to interview.
So we got to know each other through a mutual friend who works in the largely blockchain and crypto environment, and she introduced us, and then we were talking about the dinners that I put on, and we ended up doing the charity dinner 3 years ago, if you remember. And it's time for another one, by the way. We've got to talk about that one offline. The dinner came about with that charity dinner was good because I'm used to putting on the dinners, and you've got a large community. I'd like to bring to life a little bit about those ad tech communities that you've brought online, because those WhatsApp groups are valuable to many. I'd like to hear the story of where it came from and where it's going.
All right, I will try and keep this brief, because again, going back, there is a narrative around this. But long story short, it was during COVID, during the lockdowns. I had a lot of personal stuff going on at the time. And I'm a people person. I need people in my life. I go crazy without people. And I just set up a WhatsApp group, called it Adtech Chat, invited a few people in, and shared the joining link. And it basically went viral within the industry. And then I started creating a couple of other groups. I think I created a football chat because there was too much football going on in the main group. I think I maybe created one other one. And then I had people going, "Oh, Jon, can you create a group for this and create a group for that?" And my initial reaction was like, "No, you go and do it. You're free to do it. Like, stop looking to me." And I think it happened 3 times. And I was like, the universe is telling you something, Jon, right? Listen to it. So at that point, I kind of picked it up, ran with it. And now there's over 50 WhatsApp groups in the Adtech Chat community. That there's over 10,000 members across the whole family. And it's every single region. So, North America, UK, EMEA. There's even a Deutschland group, so that the Germans aren't forced to speak English. Then there's subject ones like identity and measurement, CTV, retail media, artificial intelligence, mobile, audio, and each group has its own kind of flavor and its own kind of energy.
Which is the most? Which got the biggest buzz? Which one's got the biggest buzz?
So it's really interesting. Right now, it's the Possible Miami group. So I create groups for dedicated events, and every time I do, and when it's a big event, so it's Can or it's Possible, things like that, they just catch fire, and people are, oh, I'm in this bar. Has anyone seen such and such? I'm heading over there now, and it's great. In fact, I remember in the Can group last year, we helped get someone's phone back that they'd lost. And like people were looking for it, and someone said, yeah, I'm going down to that bar later. And they tried to find it. So it's all about community. It's all about supporting each other. So
it's not just Adtech chat, it's Adtech community chatting to each other like a group of friends.
Yeah, effectively, that's what I wanted to create was a water cooler / pub type environment, and have the kind of conversations that we would have around the water cooler during the day in the office or at the pub after work, and create a digital version of that.
Would you name
but it's not about your job. Like don't bring your, I don't care if you're a CEO, I don't care if you're an account executive. It's like, who are you and what can you bring to the party effectively?
Would you name and shame the person who started talking about pineapple on pizza first?
Do you know what? It goes down in folklore, so I can't even remember who it was first.
On that note, I'm going to switch gears. We're going to chat about high five. So I've got 5 questions, and I'm going to throw them at you, and you give me a short answer as to why these people or this is the right answer to the question. So the first one is your hero.
My hero. Sorry, I'm taking longer than I should do. I know it's supposed to be quick fire. At the moment, I'd say my hero is a guy called Pete McCormack, who not many people will actually know. And he started a small niche podcast in 2017, I think it was 2018, and that blew up. And he's now well, the reason why why I'm putting him forward in this way is he's a champion for his local area, which is not far from here, a place called Bedford. And he's really trying to do, in a non-Trumpian way, to make Bedford great again. And he's doing that by almost political will. He bought one of the small, tiny little football club there, transforming that. They've had now 3 back-to-back promotions. And I think with what he's doing, like he's opening cafes in the area, he's just doing everything to try and regenerate Bedford. And he's doing some big things almost on a global level as well. So I think Pete's been really inspiring to me for what he's been doing.
I look forward to looking him up. Your best decision?
My best decision was getting into the internet from a career perspective 25 years ago now. And that stood me in really good stead. It was the right thing to do. At the time, people were still kind of naysaying the internet a little bit. And I think it's been brilliant.
Headline: John thinks the internet's been brilliant.
Well, for me, like from a career perspective, getting into it as early as I did, I think it was. I mean, Christ, if I was still working in papers now, I think I'd be in trouble.
Your worst decision?
My worst decision. This is a tough one. Because I've made plenty of poor decisions. But one of them was after I sold a company in 2008, and it was the first company I ever did, and it was quite successful. And I thought I was the golden boy, and anything I touched would turn to gold. And I was sorely mistaken. And I think if I went, so I tried to be an investor and invest in certain companies, like small seed stuff. And it was a very unenjoyable experience. I didn't make a lot of money from it, nor did I enjoy it. And I think if I'd if I go back in time, what I would have done is I'd have gone and got a job at a company in the very early days of programmatic, and I'd have got to understand programmatic far faster, and I think that I'd have enjoyed it more.
Your funniest moment?
My funniest moment was accidentally walking face first into Paul McCartney in Soho Square and apologising. Oh, sorry, Paul. I don't normally know the names of people I bump into by accident, but that was one that I did. I don't think it was so funny for him, but it gave me a good story.
Did he join your WhatsApp groups?
He did not join my WhatsApp group, nor did he give me an autograph, because apparently he doesn't do those things.
Ouch. Well, fair enough. Yeah. One more person. So this bit, I'm going to ask you to recommend one more person for me to speak to on the podcast. Oh, but first they'd have to come to a dinner, as you know. So someone you think you could introduce me to that might be willing, and A, tell me why you think they're interesting, and B, what do you see in them that most people don't see?
Yeah. So the person that I would recommend is a guy called Neil Eatson from the industry. I've known Neil at least 20 years, if not more. And the reason why I recommend him is he's got amazing experience in the industry, number one. He's very ambitious in what he does. And he's a really interesting man. He's very non-media in many ways. He bucks the trend in terms of, we're used to a lot of the time in our industry, really polished people who are, wow, is professional. And Neil isn't like that. And that's a good thing. And he's authentic to who he is. And he's much more of a kind of a Essex Barrow boy style. And he's honest. He's a good man. He's a good family man. He knows what he's doing in digital media. He's built a really good business. And I think that he's one of those people that can be misunderstood. Not that Neil particularly cares about being misunderstood or not, but I think a conversation between you and him would be really interesting, and I would like to listen to that.
Fab. Well, I look forward to getting him out for a dinner with you sometime soon. Jon, thanks so much for joining me today. I look forward to catching up with you again in due course.
Absolutely. Thanks, James.